Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be breaking down the best ways for you to make money in 2025. I'll give you a whole bunch of different ways to actually make money, and a lot of them I've done myself, and also I know people personally that do these, but I'll just be kind of breaking down for you and give you a tier list based on how viable and how good they actually are, and I'll rank them based on 3 different parameters. So first of all, I'll be looking at the time freedom. So how much time do you either need to invest in this, and also how time intensive is it once you actually start to scale? And then I'll look at the financial freedoms, how much upside do you actually have within this business? And then lastly, I'll look at the risks. Obviously, we don't want to get into something that's super risky where you have to allocate a ton of time, and also you maybe don't have so much financial upside to it. So with that being said, let's just get straight into it. So the first thing we'll be looking at is Forex trading. Now you can definitely make money with Forex, and you have very high time freedom because it doesn't take you a long time to actually do the trades. Like, it's not like you need to deliver service, anything like that. But the downside is that it's super risky. Not a ton of people make money from it, and definitely the people that you see online, most of them just faking their results to get you to buy some sort of program that they're offering you. And also you need a ton of money just to multiply your money. Like if you're making, for example, 10% gain, well, if you only have 10K saved up, for example, to invest, well, you're making 1 grand. And usually that 10%, you'll make that over like 6 to 12 months. And if you're making like 1 or 2 grand a year, I mean, it's not really viable and it's not really worth it in my opinion. You'd be better off just buying S&P and then making, 8 to 12% every single year, and then just forget about it. So for that reason, because it's super risky and you need a ton of money to actually get started with and make serious gains, I'm gonna put this in the D tier category. Now, next up we have SMMA, and if you don't know who this guy is, this is Iman Gazzi. He's actually the guy that got me started in SMMA when I launched my agency and kind of taught me everything. But he's also the reason why this space is so saturated and crowded. Essentially, when you're running an SMMA business, you become a slave to that business because it's a service and you need to service your clients every single day. And also, you're being paid to build someone else's business, meaning that you're leaving money on the table by nature. Otherwise, your clients are going to get angry. And from my experience running an agency for many years, is that clients will be angry regardless of what you do for them. Either you have crazy good results, like let's say you're spending 10 grand or 50 grand a month for them and you're making them 4x their money back. They're still going to be angry because they're going to be like, well, why are we not spending 100K per month? Oh, well, we'll just leave then and find another agency, because they have literally thousands of people reaching out to them and say, hey, we can triple your results in 60 days on a pure performance guarantee. Otherwise, you'll get your money back and we'll buy you a penthouse in Dubai. Like literally, this space is so filled with crazy guarantees and it's a race to the bottom, and it's so crowded that it's so hard for you to actually stand out. And so not only are you building someone else's business while getting none of the accolades for it, you also become a slave to it. Because by nature, you're trading your time for money. It doesn't matter if you're charging a retainer or performance, based on revenue or ROAS or ad spend or whatever, you still need to put in work every single day. Now, I will say though, it's a very good thing for beginners to get into, to just kind of learn how ads work, how marketing works, how e-commerce works in general, how sales works, outreach, all these different things. You definitely learn a lot for not much money invested into it. Like, you just need a few softwares, that's really it. And then you can hire contractors to take care of your clients once you sign them. But there's just so many downsides and it's so crazy that for that reason, I'm gonna put it in the B tier. And also with SMMA, if you're just getting started and you find a few clients you can charge on retainer, you can definitely quickly get up to making like 5 to 10K per month. But if you really want to like scale to, say 100, 500 or $1 million a month, you're either going to be looking at, working 16-hour days or having like 10, 15% profit margin on that. So like if you make $1 million a month, you're just netting like 100 to 150K per month, which sounds good on paper, but you have such a massive operation and so much stress in your life that it's honestly not worth it. There's so many better ways to actually go about it. Then we have traditional dropshipping. And so what I mean by traditional dropshipping is that you're just copy pasting products you find on AliExpress or you find somewhere online onto a generic Shopify store with no branding, and then you just try and run some ads for it or post on social media. And this was definitely something that worked like back in 2017, 2018, but nowadays consumers have just gotten more sophisticated. The market is more saturated. The competition is more fierce. And so if this is the only way for you to do drop shipping, I would say you're pretty much going to be out of luck, and you're probably not going to get any success, and you're probably just going to be burning your money. The upside to this though is that it's very fast to launch, so you'll get some quick feedback on it, but your success, if you're going to have any with it, is probably going to be very, very short-lived, because competition and other people running Shopify stores can easily just copy paste your product onto their store and then outcompete you on that. And so for that reason, I'm going to put it in the C category. It's still better than Forex, I'd say, but there are way better ways to make money. Then we move to YouTube automation specifically. And I would say YouTube automations get overglorified a lot. People say like, oh, it's super easy to get started, yada, yada, yada. But honestly, it's pretty high cost of entry, because you need to hire a bunch of different people to do things for you. Even though you have AI, it's just not as good yet. And you still need creative people that AI just can't replace yet. So you need to hire someone to do like the voiceover, you need someone to do all the B-rolls for you, you need someone to create the storyline or the script for you, someone to do the editing, and then also uploading, and also thumbnails. So you're looking at like 4 to 7 different people that you need to hire and pay for just to start a YouTube channel. And if you never launched a YouTube channel, actually scaled it up, and you don't have that skill set, I would say it's going to be pretty expensive for you to get up to the level where you'll start to monetize things and then make ad revenue. And even when you start making ad revenue, it's like $1 a day or half $1 a day that you're going to be making. And so the process is super slow, and it's definitely like a very long-term play, but you still need to pay every single time you want to post a video, and that could get very costly over time. And so it's not as easy as people make it out to be. It's a super crowded space, and so for that reason, I'm going to put it in the D tier, just because it's not worth it, honestly. Like, growing a YouTube channel and then the AdSense that you make in the beginning is just so little that it's not worth it. There are better ways where you can make money like that upfront. Now, moving on, we have crypto, and I'm actually going to put this in either one or two categories. I'm either going to put it in the S tier or D tier, depending on how you look at it. I would put it in the D tier for making money, so active income, because if you're just trading like shit coins, altcoin, meme coins, stuff like that, like shitty Solana altcoins, whatever, like, you are gonna get absolutely pounded by this market, like, because it's just such a wild thing that you're very unlikely to make money from it. But if you're using it as a way to multiply your money, I would actually put it in the S tier. And the reason is that the exchanges that crypto has actually have super good interest rates on them. So like, for example, with Nexo, you can make like 7 to up to, I think, like 12% on some things just by storing your money there. And so that's in itself like way better than having to like invest in the S&P or like just putting in the bank, for example. And so for multiplying it, I would honestly say like it's one of the best ways for you to multiply your money, but it's passive, meaning that for active income, I wouldn't rely on this, because you need a ton of money to multiply it, right? And so you make your active money from somewhere else, like SMA, dropshipping, forex trading, like whatever things I've gone over so far, or the next things that I'll get to. But then once you've made that money, well, now you can use crypto as a way to safely outperform the traditional stock market, like the S&P, for example, either by just putting it in a savings account on Nexo or any of these like exchanges, or just putting it in like Bitcoin, for example. Now, the next thing I'm going to cover is affiliate marketing, and I would actually put this in the C tier. This can honestly be a very good way to make money, but depending on how you do it, it's either super expensive, so pretty risky, or it's super slow. The good thing about it is that you don't have any sort of fulfillment, and so you don't necessarily need to have any sort of investment or risk associated with it besides time. And then that way you can kind of go about it one or two ways. Either you can go down like the organic route, which is just, posting out on socials, doing SEO or something like that, or you're going to be running ads and thereby spending money but freeing up your time, but it's going to be more risky because you're not making the entire profit. Essentially, you're still building someone else's business and getting none of the accolades for it, thereby you're leaving money on the table. So to get success with affiliate, you either need to be crazy good at marketing, media buying, copywriting, or SEO, or something like that, and have like crazy patience. And again, you're just leaving money on the table compared to some of the other things that I'm going to go over. Now, next up, we have remote sales. And actually, I'm going to put remote sales in the A tier. And I'm going to do that even though it might seem counterintuitive, because you don't have a ton of time freedom with this, because you're on one-on-one calls with other people. But it's very low risk. There's basically zero risk involved with it because you're going to be employed by someone selling an offer, selling a program, something like that. And also you get paid to learn a very, very high valuable skill. Also, you have a ton of location freedom. Like it doesn't matter if you're sitting in Australia, in Dubai, in the US or whatever, you can do remote sales from anywhere in the world. And if you're good enough and you sell a high ticket offer, you can make very, very good money. The only downside I would say there is to remote sales or remote closing or whatever setting is that you're trading time for money and you're building someone else's business again. But the actual upside of it, especially for beginners just needing to make some cash or something, and then, putting that cash into a different side hustle or whatever, I would honestly say it's a very, very good option for most people. Now, next up, we have branded dropshipping, and I put a picture of myself here, but I'm going to put this in the S tier compared to traditional dropshipping because you don't easily get copied and you're quite literally building a real brand, but you have none of the traditional expenses you would have when you're building a normal e-commerce brand. Like you don't pay for warehouses, you have very, very fast product test. It's very lean and efficient, and only once you see success and you have it validated, after a week or so, well, then you turn it into a brand dropshipping store, thereby basically having the best of both worlds, having your own brand where you can have your own IP and your own moat, but also you can have the ease of scale and ease of testing that traditional dropshipping has. And so you're essentially just taking out all of the downsides that both have, so running a normal ecom brand, but also doing traditional dropshipping or old school dropshipping. And then you're just taking all the positives and combining those together. Now, I will say it definitely takes a little bit of time up front, especially with like the product research, and there's more time involved with like setting up the actual brand of it. Like the website needs to look better, you need to have better images, better content, all these different things. But it's really not that much. And doing branded dropshipping really just allows you for the ultimate location, time, and financial freedom with very, very minimal risk. And so for that reason, I'm going to put this as an S tier because there's just not many things that match this. Then let's move to copywriting. And if you don't know who this guy is, this is David Ogilvy, and he's basically the grandfather of copywriting. Copywriting is going to be put into the B tier. Definitely a very, very good way to make money, kind of like SMA. You're signing clients, you're building someone else's business, getting none of the accolades and trading time for money. But I will say it takes honestly not that much practice to be good at copywriting. It's a skill that you can quite easily pick up, and people pay very well for it just because they're lazy. Also, if you're doing this as a solo freelancer, like you can easily handle like 8 to 12 to maybe max 15 clients paying like 2-3K per month. And that's like a very, very good business to have that you can just run on your own and write some copy for people. So honestly, a very, very decent way to make money. I'd say this is ranked like between A and B. Like I would definitely say it's better than SMMA, honestly, just because it's not as crowded. But still, there's big downsides to it with like the time freedom. And if we're looking at like longevity and scaling, well, you're not going to be able to scale this like multiple six figures, for example, a month. Then let's move to content creation / UGC. And I'm going to say /UGC because you can kind of put those two together. And I'm going to put this in the S tier. You can debate A or S tier, but I'm going to put it in the S tier just because you're building a snowball that is going to snowball for the rest of your life. And you're going to build an audience that's only going to keep growing over time. Now, it can be very tricky to kind of blow up and go viral. And definitely in the beginning, you're going to be putting in a lot more time for not that much reward. But the effort is going to be staying pretty much the same throughout the entire journey. But your rewards over time, like over years, is going to keep increasing. And so it's a very, very good way to kind of scale your income over time. And you can even combine this with like, say, drop shipping or remote sales or whatever, and kind of have that as a side hustle in the background. And that will only snowball throughout time. And also, if you're just starting out with content creation, you can still do UGC and like TikTok Shop, for example, for other brands and get paid to do UGC videos for those brands. And I know personally, brands will pay like $300 to $500 or even thousands and thousands of dollars in retainer per month, depending on how good you are and how much you sell, just for you to make like short little 45-second clips of their products. And so you can actually make a ton of money for very little work, and you still have all the upside with time. Then comes Amazon FBA, and Amazon FBA is going to be put in the B tier because it's very, very capital intensive. still better than, for example, traditional drop shipping with Shopify, like what you saw back in 2018. But it requires you to have a ton of capital to invest upfront in just products to be sold at Amazon, and also you're at the mercy of Jeff Bezos. Like there's so many accounts that gets taken down every single day just for like no reason. So you can be doing amazing. You can be doing like 100K per month or 200K per month, and then suddenly just get shut down, and for no apparent explanation, and they just won't tell you about it, and you're just doomed. Also, your margin sucks a lot because Amazon charges a ton of fees. You're not going to be getting like 60 to 80 to even 90% sometimes that you can get with drop shipping, for example. And so you definitely need to take that into account. But also it's a very, very scalable platform because there's so much traffic, and also you have the trust of Amazon, meaning that you're likely going to be getting super high conversion rates. But even though you might convert at a very high rate because of your margins, it's still going to become a numbers game where you can be unprofitable and you can be profitable with it. So there's definitely more risk associated with it compared to like remote closing or drop shipping in general, but also you have some upsides with Amazon being a platform that you're selling on. Then we have digital products. And if you don't know what this is ClickFunnels, and this is probably the biggest platform in the world to sell digital products. And digital products are going to be put in the A tier. The reason is that you have 100% margin with digital products, and that's absolutely insane, and you have zero fulfillment whatsoever. Now, the downside to this is that you need to convince people that air, essentially, because you're selling information, you're selling nothing, like it's not tangible, which is why it's not an S tier way of making money like it is with dropshipping, for example, because you have a tangible good that you can put your hands on. Here you're selling information, and so you need to convince a stranger through an ad that the information that you're selling them is worth 30, 50, 100, $500, for example, in a one-time payment, and that they should give you that money. So you need to be crazy good at marketing and branding and copywriting. But if you are that and you're really a master of those things, well, you can make a shit ton of money. Also, you have a crazy amount of time freedom because, again, you're just running ads essentially to an offer and with crazy good margins. But because you don't have something tangible, it's not going to become an S tier way of making money. And that's why I'm putting it at the A tier. And then lastly, we have print on demand. Now, print on demand is going to be in the C tier. Purely because it's like not as good a way, honestly, to do like drop shipping. If you don't know what print on demand is, it's essentially the same as drop shipping, but usually you just like sell mugs or t-shirts or something like that, and you put your own little like print on it, like little theme. And the reason why that's hard to sell is because it's very hard to differentiate yourself, and so you're going to be competing with millions of other people, and you're probably going to be looking just like them. Also, the products that you're selling, they don't solve any sort of real issue that your customers are facing. They don't solve real problem, have no like real world benefit to it. And so it's very, very hard to, again, like differentiate yourself and convincing people why they should buy your product. But it's a super easy model, especially for beginners to start. And if you're sort of creative and you're very good at media buying and branding, you can definitely make money with it. But I would, for example, never start a clothing brand in my life because it's just so saturated and hard to like break through because you're competing against so many big giants, corporations like Nike, Gymshark, whatever, and you're just selling like small little prints on things, and like why should people care about you, you know? So guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you got some value from it. If you did, I would highly appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, just leave them down below and I'll be happy to answer. Also, if you're looking to get help with your dropshipping journey, if you're just getting started or if you're struggling to find success, you can apply to my one-to-one mentorship down below through the link ecomrasmus.com. And with this mentorship, I will literally teach you everything there is to know about dropshipping live on one-on-one calls, and I'll help you get everything set up. So guys, that's it for this time. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.